Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today's video is going to be a bit different, a little bit of a different tone to our normal videos. Unfortunately, I've felt the need to make this video. Now, I didn't want to make this video. It's not something I looked forward to doing, but some recent events and you know, for a while now, things have been pushing me in the direction of making this video. To start off with, the fact that I'm being, the fact that I feel that I'm in a position where I need to make this video upsets me to the point of, it's just ridiculous. So, a while back we made a community video talking about how great of a community how great of a community this snake community is, this reptile community in general is, how, there are some amazing people in this hobby, and it's completely and honestly true. But there are some people in this hobby who persistently feel the need to bring down everyone else. And now, don't get me wrong, this is a rant video and I may go off on a tangent here, but I'm just going to be completely and honestly open with you guys. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, unfortunately. I'm just going to put it as it is and do with this information as you please. Honestly, I'm not looking for I'm not looking for this video to start I don't know, some sort of weird reaction. It's simply, this is my feelings on this hobby, and in spirit of what I've always said, which is being completely and utterly open with everyone, just clear as crystal, I felt the need to make this video. So just off the bat, I think I want to first start off talking about certain types of people who really bring down this hobby in general. And unfortunately, I know a lot of people have in recent years left Facebook due to certain dramas that befall on there. Now, there are dramas on there that are personal dramas, or that are something that really doesn't concern myself or concern the hobby in general. I think Facebook has turned into, in some cases, a cesspit for just people who feel that they need to attack everyone for any little reason. I think one of the things that really get to me, that I see a lot of on Facebook, is people who are new to this hobby, people wut may be relatively new, first animal they've owned, etc., who join certain Facebook groups, and there's plenty of them, put up a question or put up a picture, and the immediate response from some people in those groups is to attack said person. Now, quite frankly, I find that utterly disgusting. I think something we really need to realize is that this is a community that thrives on us working together. It thrives on us learning together, growing together, etc. And I think two of the fundamental things that are really required for any community, not just this community, for any community to work: respect, and to some degree professionalism. I mean, if a person, and I'll put it like this, if someone is asking a question, if it's their first snake, if it's something that they have recently owned, through whatever means, whether they bought their first animal and perhaps they haven't done the research they should have done before buying that animal, perhaps they weren't as well equipped as they should have been before buying that animal, but you know what, that doesn't give anyone the right to attack them for any reason. Now, attacking someone for those things, instead of us coming along and going, you know what, actually, what you're doing isn't right, but here are some things you should be doing to rectify that problem. Perhaps you should have done a little bit more research, but this is the position we're in now, and here's some helpful suggestions for you to move forward, take them on board, and better your practice, whether it's in how they're keeping animals, whether it's how they're feeding their animals, whether it's how they're breeding their animals. And at the end of the day, we're here and we should be supportive, we should answer questions. Yes, we should tell people, especially new people into the hobby, when they're doing something wrong. But that doesn't mean that you just attack the person. It doesn't mean that you just go, oh, look at what you're doing wrong. Everything you're doing is wrong. You shouldn't be allowed to own snakes. You shouldn't be allowed to do this. You shouldn't. Who gives you the right? Is my sixpenneth, if you will. Who gives you the right to say that? Are you some expert? For example, there are people out there who feel that keeping ball pythons, for example, and I'll bring up ball pythons because we do work a lot with ball pythons, and this channel predominantly features ball pythons, although not exclusively. There are people out there who feel that rack systems are, for lack of a better term, barbaric, inhumane. The animals don't get enough enrichment, that they're, we do it for the money because, and I quote, someone once told me, here we go again with the breeder mentality of rack 'em, stack 'em, bank 'em. Now, honestly, that kind of response from people is just so sad to see. Sad in the sense that a lot of the time, things that they're against, they can't even really put into words or really explain to you why they're against it. It just is. Some groups have ridiculous rules. For example, I know one group has a silly rule about not soaking snakes for any reason, including apparently being constipated, which, as far as they're concerned, forces the animal to go to the bathroom. Apparently, for some reason, putting an animal in lukewarm water, which is advice that any veterinary practice will give you for practically any species, is apparently bad because it forces the animal to go to the bathroom and it's unnatural and it causes unnecessary stress, etc., etc. People like that really need to wake up. And here's the other thing that really bugs me. We are a community, and there is no black and white way to do anything in this community, right? In this hobby, there is no black and white, this is how you do it, here's a rule book. People have varying opinions. There are people out there who feel that potentially ball pythons are better suited to living in a vivarium. And you know what? If your animals are doing well in a vivarium setting, if you have 1 or 2 ball pythons and you keep them in a vivarium and they're thriving and they're doing well and they're feeding and everything that should be happening is happening well, the animal's growing, it's healthy, then guess what? Brilliant. Honestly, brilliant. If someone on the other end of the spectrum wants to keep 100 ball pythons in tubs, provided that they are, sensible sized tubs, right? And the animals are doing well, again, they're shedding, they're feeding, they're pooping. Great. There's a difference in opinion there. And we are all adults, right? We are adult human beings. And one thing we need to understand is that opinions matter and that opinions will clash. But you need to understand that you also have to accept other people's opinions. You may not agree with them necessarily, but as adult human beings, you should be able to have a conversation where you put forward your opinion, someone else puts forward their opinion, we have an adult conversation, a professional conversation, maybe some learning takes place, not necessarily between the 2 people who are sharing opinions, but maybe a third party or a fourth party coming in and reading those comments and reading that discussion may learn something there. That is what we need to be doing, not attacking each other for each other's opinions. An opinion, everyone has the right to one, yes. There are things that can be done. There are things that you don't do. For example, you don't keep ball pythons without, heating. You don't keep ball pythons, or any reptile for that matter. You don't put them into vivaria without an appropriate thermostat, for example. It's dangerous. Okay, we know factually that it can overheat, it can cause problems, etc. It's something that can be done. You can't have an opinion to say, actually, no, I don't think any reptiles need thermostat. There are things that are just fact, but in terms of the nitty gritty, right, of how we actually keep them, I guarantee you each person has a different way of approaching it. Whether it's they may do everything similar but do one tiny thing different. That's a variation in opinion, and people need to appreciate each other's opinion. People need to build on each other's opinion, accept them, learn from them, perhaps do something better with their practice, perhaps move forward in a positive light, rather than just clashing and having these absolutely childish arguments over Facebook. And that doesn't just stem from husbandry, that's everything. What substrate you buy seems to be the latest hot topic, right? Apparently, what we buy for our animals to use as bedding, to go to the bathroom on, is this incredible topic of debate that seems to have developed pockets of groups of people who feel that if you don't use this, then you're not keeping your animals right. Well, guess what? You can use what the hell you like. Now, yes, there's some substrates that work better than others. That's true. I personally don't recommend you keeping them on paper unless for, quarantine measures. Of course, that's a really good way of, making sure the animal's clear of things like mites, etc. Keep them on paper, check their feces, and that's not just for snakes, for any species. It's a good way of quarantining and keeping a close eye. But other than that, giving an animal a substrate that it can use, right? That it can feel, better suits its requirements, whether it's humidity or whatever it is. There isn't one substrate out there that you'll use. Okay? There's not one substrate out there that everyone has to use, otherwise they're not doing it right. Everyone has an opinion. And if your animals are doing well on it, right? If your animals seem to be thriving on it, then guess what? Don't change. Do what you're doing, and no one has the right to tell you what you're doing is wrong. There are cases, sure. I mean, you wouldn't, mow if you have a garden, mow the grass, right? And then use the grass clippings as substrate. That's just silly. Right? But I'm just giving you a silly example for that reason. I see people talking about, people promoting different brands. What's that got to do with anyone? If someone wants to promote a brand of whatever it is, a service that they've used, that they've, enjoyed the service they've, received from the place, they've enjoyed the product they've received, they've enjoyed the experience, it's in their right to promote it. It is not in anyone else's right to say, how dare you promote X product or how dare you promote Y product, because that's not Z product or M product. Who cares, right? Can we stop the childish? And this video ain't gonna stop no one. This will continue, but I'm just making my thoughts clear. And maybe if one person changes their way, I've done my job here. Now, Facebook, as I've said, is unfortunately become a cesspit for these kinds of people. People who feel they know everything. And guess what? Rude awakening, you don't. And as far as I'm concerned, you know nothing. A lot of people who have these sorts of very strong opinions and like to push them upon people, actually when you look at them, don't have any experience and don't have any true knowledge of what they're talking about. They've heard something of someone, and suddenly it's fact to them. Okay? Don't be that person. Know what you're talking about, have the experience, have the knowledge before you come and suggest something. And when you do it in a positive way. I'm not saying don't call people out for not doing things wrong, but I am saying make sure that when you do it politely. You do it with the intention of helping that person, not with putting that person down. Because guess what? At the end of the day, we all do this for the animals, right? I can be wrong. If some of you don't do it for the animals, then cool, great. That's your business. But for those of us who do it for the animals, when we give suggestions, we do it because we want that animal in that person's possession to be as healthy as it can, to have the greatest life that it can, right? So if someone's asking you a question on a public forum and you attack them, guess what you've done? You've just put them off wanting to ask questions in future. So that person in future, whether he's doing something right or wrong, will not attempt to seek out advice because they're worried of the reaction they're going to get. They're worried that people are going to attack them for asking a question. Instead of having a community where they feel that, you know what, I'm unsure about this, it may be a silly question, but guess what? Let me ask the group because they'll be supportive of me. They'll, answer my silly question, and if it's not a silly question, they'll answer it. If it's a silly question, they might put my mind at ease. Instead of building a community like that people want to be a part of, that people feel nurtured by, we are growing together, we're learning from one another. No one out there knows everything. I don't care who you are. There is not a single person out there who knows everything. And no one knows everything about one thing. Forget about everything, right? Let's just keep it onto the topic of ball pythons. Let's make it even more specific and talk about ball python husbandry. And let's make it even more specific and talk about the requirements for ball pythons in terms of bedding. No one out there knows everything on that topic. Regardless of all the other bigger topics that are out there, no one knows. We all have the capacity to learn. We all have the capacity to move forward. We all have the capacity to better what we do. And I think I can say myself and Jay, we are always learning new things constantly, new ways of doing things, new things to try, things we never thought of, things we never even thought, you know what, is there any point in changing that? And here's the other thing. Don't let peer pressure change what you do, okay? You stick by what you do. And you hear a lot of people out there, especially a lot of the bigger breeders out there, talking to you and saying, you know what, if you have something that works, don't change it. Regardless of how we do it or someone up, someone more well known or whatever, no matter how they do it, and they will tell you, Don't just change it because we do it this way. We're just sharing what we're doing, right? If what you do works, do you. Don't feel the need to constantly change, because guess what? These animals are sensitive, right? They are sensitive animals. They like consistency. And if you're doing something that is consistent and they are happy, why change? Why change unless that change is going to directly benefit them? Why change because you want to change from one brand to another? Someone asked me. Also, I think the mob mentality on Facebook is getting out of control. Honestly speaking, the mob mentality of a lot of people just seem to be, and I'm going to put this harshly, and because I don't want to sugarcoat anything. It seems like a swarm of brain dead people really, really wanting the approval of other people who feel that they just need to act as this mob mind and destroy, attack anyone who goes against anyone. Okay, stop it. You're better than that. You're individual people with your own opinions. And guess what? Just because someone is on YouTube, or someone has an Instagram, or someone breeds, or someone, makes a load of money breeding ball pythons, or any lizard, or someone owns a shop, or someone owns a zoo, or whatever. At the end of the day, we are all equal. It does not matter a damn where you are or who you are. Take pride in yourself. Stand up as an individual. You are an individual in this hobby, okay? You don't need to be a part of any grouping or any, social group or mob mentality in order to find a place. You have a place in this community from the get-go, because the good side of this community is they're arms open, willing to accept anyone. Don't be the person, right, who attacks the newbie, because guess what? One day you may ask a question. One day you may have a question to ask, and you receive that. And believe me, when you're on that end of it, it's horrible. This video is still going, and there is so much I can say, so much. I'm going to try and say as much as I want to say in this video, but there is so much going on that I feel the need to really speak out. And I'm going to talk about one particular person here now, and it needs to be done. I hate doing this because this is not the kind of person I am. I don't like, don't get me wrong, I don't feel like I'm about to attack anyone. I'm just going to make my opinion and my experience with said person very clear. Now, before, I'm not cutting corners here. Simply put, the person I'm talking about is Simon Ling. And if you don't know who Simon Ling is, he is the owner of a number of different companies: Cold Blooded Movements, the courier company, Ridgeway Frozen, which is the rodent company, Ridgeway Exotics, which is, I believe, a pet shop, and Herpzotics, which are those who make racks, including the ones we have upstairs. Now, unfortunately, it would seem that regardless of, up until this point, we have supported Simon in a number of ways. I mean, we've used his rack systems. I've always used Cold Blooded Movements as my courier of choice. I've always recommended Cold Blooded Movements, etc. It was brought to my attention, however, 6 days ago, that from a person who, or multiple people I should say, who I had recently purchased snakes from and had booked a courier with Cold Blooded Movement, I received a message 6 days ago telling me that they apologized, saying sorry that Simon had told them that they were no longer that they were not going to be picking up my snakes. Obviously, to me, that was very confusing. So I tried to dig into it, and it turns out that apparently, for some reason, and I'll go into this, don't worry. Apparently, MJ's Pythons has been banned from using cold-blooded movements. Not a problem at all. I'm not going to sit here and cry because, oh my God, I can't use cold-blooded movements. I really don't care, to be honest. And what's irritating me about this entire situation is this, and it goes back to what I was saying, right? Respect and professionalism. I responded to this, and okay, the reasoning behind this allegedly is that I was banned due to slating and bashing a sister company of Cold Blooded Movements, which must be one of the other three, either the racks, four, whatever it is, the racks, the rodents, or the pet shop. They're the other three. Okay, it has to be one of those. Allegedly, we got banned for going out of our way, and I quote here, going out of our way to publicly bash a sister company multiple times on multiple social media platforms. Now, I would assume that a lot of you who are watching this video are people who already follow me and have followed me for some time in some cases. Please reach out to me. Put in the comments down below if you have ever felt that I have on any social media platform or multiple social media platforms on multiple occasions bashed or slated any company associated with Simon Ling. Please comment that down below. And if you have any, I haven't deleted any posts, but if you have a particular post that you think, or even a video on here, please copy that or mention it in the comments below so everyone can see. Now, obviously, the professionalism here is lacking where, as a professional and as someone running a service, it would have been courteous for that individual to contact me and let me know I've been banned, so that I know, and I'm not sitting here with no clue of what's going on, thinking it's a bit bizarre, I haven't received a text yet from Cold Blooded to say when we were expecting our animals, and then to suddenly hear from the people we've actually purchased from. That is a massive issue for me, that lack of professionalism. Now, I didn't just go, you know what, forget that, I'm just going to jump on a camera, start recording and ranting. Nah, that didn't happen. I was going to make this rant video anyways. This is just going to be added in here because it's a more recent thing that's happened and I want to share it publicly, rather than making a post about it which can be taken and looked into the wrong way or read the wrong way. I'm telling you it straight to the camera, and at least this way you can tell my tone of voice, you can tell exactly what I'm saying, and there's no question about it. So that was the first part, but like I said, I didn't rush into this. I then emailed Sam, and unfortunately I don't have the message here. I'll post the message if people want to see. I sent a message to his Facebook page, to his private phone. I called him multiple times with no reply. And my message was simply aimed at finding out what had happened. Because up until now, I don't actually know what has gone on. Where is it that I have done what I allegedly have done? Because if I had done something that someone felt, maybe I said something or somewhere that someone felt was, direct bash against them, then maybe, if it wasn't meant like that and someone spoke to me, I could have gone, actually, I didn't mean that. I do apologize that you've interpreted it like that. My bad, I should have been clearer, etc., etc. And I've waited 6 days for a reply. I asked kindly, I said it was a shame that, and I will post this so you can read it. But the fact that the messages weren't even responded to, and I decided to wake up. I was going to wait a couple of days. I ended up waiting 6 days. I've tried to call multiple times. Calls are ignored. I've texted. Texts were never responded to. I've, messaged. I tried to message Cold Blooded Movement to ask what had happened, but obviously by that point it appears that I had been already blocked from all that kind of stuff, so there was no way of me getting in contact there. It's just a massive lack of professionalism, and this is going to take me to a point, and I need everyone to listen. It would seem that over the last, year or two that I've been in the background on these groups and on these pages and watching, that Simon feels he owns the monopoly in this hobby. He feels that his services are free to be used as weapons against people who do not agree with him. And I think no one yet, for some reason, has decided to openly come out and talk about it, but I will. I have no qualms because I am not saying anything untrue. I am not having a dig at a person for, no reason. I have my reasons. I've made one of them, perfectly clear. My other reason is I'm looking at this from an outsider, looking in, evaluating the situation and thinking that's not right. Now, this silliness with banning people from cold-blooded movements, fine, absolutely fine. Simon is the owner of that company. Simon has the perfect right to say, actually, I do not want to serve you. However, that's one thing. To then use that as a weapon for people, to scare people into thinking, oh, actually, if we don't, if we're not yes men, then we may not be able to get our animals couriered to us. Or if we're not yes men, we may not be able to get our frozen. At the end of the day, you're destroying your own company because you are getting rid of customers. At the end of the day, those are your customers. And if someone has said something wrong, then I'm not saying don't, ban someone from your service. Of course, if someone has unneededly gone off on one and started talking rubbish about something, then by all means, absolutely ban them, and you'll have support. But to bully people, and I think some people say it's bullying. I find it more of the actions of an insecure individual. And I'm not trying to attack someone needlessly. I'm just saying I don't think this is bullying. I just think that this has become a culture now where if you don't, if it's not a case that you are 100% behind everything and everything that someone does is amazing, then that person doesn't have time for you. I have always supported Simon in multiple capacities. I've recommended these racks that we have upstairs to absolutely everyone I know. I have sung their praises since I've had them. Cold-blooded, I've never had anything to say negative about cold-blooded movements and the lovely people who actually work for cold-blooded movements. I've never had the privilege of actually going to Ridgeway Exotics, and I've never used Ridgeway Frozen, but that's not for any negative reason. I never came around to it. I was using someone before, I've stuck with them. But here is my point. I have always been supportive. I have always, been fair, and I never felt the need to start unnecessary drama for, just any reason, just to start crap. But there's a lot of people out there who feel that they are, and I've spoken to a lot of people, and guess what? I would probably say a good 70% or more of this community agrees with everything I'm saying, and everyone I've talked to seems to have the same opinion. Without my probing, without me going, oh, what do you think of? I have listened to a lot of people. I made very little response, right? I've made very little comeback, and I've just sat there and listened to what they've had to say, and the examples are endless. So what I need everyone to realize, there are other companies out there just as good or even better. And unfortunately, we will no longer be using any of those services just because I don't feel I want to support someone who is maliciously, in some cases, affecting the community and really just using certain mob mentalities to attack individuals unnecessarily, right? Wrong, completely, by any standards. So I won't be using them, which is a shame, don't get me wrong. It is a shame that we will no longer be using them, because I've used them for so long. For the whole time we've been breeding, or at least buying animals, we've always used them. Okay? I'm apparently banned now for reasons unknown or unclear, and no one has been professional enough to actually contact me in response to say, actually, this is what's happened, this is the reason, and enlightened me about it. But there are other people, right? For example, there is Ollie from reptilecourier.eu. Amazing person, highly professional, okay? Offers a courier service, on time, no issues. Here's an alternative. We will start using a different alternative soon, but we'll talk more about that from animals that we sell. And we hope that within a short period of time, we'll be able to offer overnight delivery once every week. In terms of frozen, there are plenty other people. We've always used TSM Pet Supplies. We've also tried rattlesnacks, which were previously known as, is it Blood Ball Reptiles, I think, but they're now rattlesnacks. Amazing service, amazing quality frozen. We've recently used Boss Rats, fantastic service and outstanding quality. And for those people who, and I've seen posts, and I hope you don't mind me using your name, but I'm going to mention Paul Milner because I saw a post a couple of weeks back. I saw a post that Paul Milner had put up recommending Boss Rats after using them, and I was just scrolling through and I noticed in the comments there seemed to be an entire group of people who were immediately slamming boss rats and saying that they were overpriced for the same thing that you get from Simon Ling's Frozen. Okay, listen, I've never used Ridgeway Frozen. I can't compare, and I can't make that comparison. But I assure you, none of these people, or very few of them I should say, actually have used boss rats or went, you know what, actually, let me have a go, a small quantity, perhaps only a couple of frozen items, and compare. And then they may receive them and go, actually, you know what, comparatively, these are the same thing, but these are just way overpriced. Immediately it was this sort of mob mentality of, why are you using anything other than Ridgeway Frozen? And you know what, if you're that loyal to a company, congratulations on you. But guess what? It ain't the only one out there. It ain't the best one out there. I don't think you can really say one of those companies are the best. And you know why? Because each person has a preference. Again, back to the opinion. Each person has a preference on the services they require. We find that, you know what, I've been using TSM for a long time. I like to look at, as most people, inexpensive items, okay? We want to save money because if you have a small collection, spending an extra maybe 50p, 70p, a pound for a premium, and I say premium with quotations, sometimes it might be okay. For us, we need to look at what our items are, okay? What are we being supplied with? And if we stick on the frozen rodents, we can look at our frozen rodents and go, right, what do we need them to be? We need them to be clean. We need them to be, packaged correctly. We need a good service, and we need a reasonable price. Because at the end of the day, why would I, if they were truly identicals, why would I buy the more expensive one? But that's my opinion. Someone may go, actually, I want to pay for the more expensive one because I want to support that particular person. And that's perfect as well. That's, again, you have every right to do that. But this is what I'm saying. There is no best company. So drop it with the best company. By all means, share your experience. Say, you know what, I've always ordered from this place, never had an issue, always good quality. That kind of experience is needed. Okay, so we can, as a whole, have honest reviews, if you will, honest experiences that we or someone else can make that judgment to go, actually, I want to try that for myself. Not, this is the best, and if you don't use it, what are you doing? Which seems to be, going back to what I was saying at the start, seems to be the hot topic now with substrates. Well, if you don't use this, bye-bye. People have their own opinion. People have the right to their own opinion. And I'm very sorry that I've been going on for so long, but I really wanted to bring this. The sun has damn gone down. I've put the sun to sleep, so I apologize. But this had to be said. Please don't feel that you are bound to any given service. Don't feel that you are bound to be a yes man or a yes, I say yes man, I should say a yes person. Don't feel that you have to follow what someone says and be subservient, otherwise, oh my goodness, you might not have access to X, Y, or Z, because there are other alternatives. And as I said, professional, and that is my biggest issue right now, and this is why I brought up Simon as a particular name, is that lack of professionalism. Because I can accept, if you're not happy with something I've done, I can accept that you've banned me, okay? Because I can go, no worries, fair enough, it's your business, I'll go elsewhere. But the lack of contact, the fact that it was told to these individuals who I'd purchased snakes from, but was never told to me. So I look a bit like a fool, sitting there going, oh really? I never heard anything about this. Not having the decency to reply to my messages when I answer. When I send them. Or when I call to let me know what the hell is going on. So I can inform myself and go, actually, okay, that's my problem. As a wider community, let's build together. Let's change some of the practices that we're doing that are not helping our hobby, and actually, if anything, just really not in any way, shape or form making a positive impact to our community. And these issues, by the way, exist in all communities everywhere. I'm not saying it's the reptile community alone or the ball python community alone or anything like that that has these issues. Every community has them. Okay? What I'm saying is, we're bound and we are in this together for the same reason. The love of these animals. That's why we keep them. Whether you breed them, whether you only keep them as pets, doesn't matter what you do. It's your interest and your passion for these animals that, you know, causes you to want to keep them and causes you to want to be part of these groups and these social, you know, interactions with other people with similar interests and similar, you know, passions for these animals, etc., etc. So why don't we actually stop doing all the crap? Why don't we just drop it all? Right? When someone asks a question, for God's sake, like I said, tell them they're wrong if they're wrong, but do it politely, do it professionally, do it with some form, right, of respect for other people. We are all people. We are all, as far as I'm concerned, equal. So have that respect for one another. Grow together. Don't feel that because, you know, oh, so-and-so hasn't bred, so they're beneath me. Because I've bred and I've got one season under my belt. The hell? Who cares? Honestly, I'm telling you people, who cares? If you've bred a ball python, for example, that's no... Congratulations, by the way. But that's no reason for you to feel that you're above someone else. Because guess what? These animals are relatively easy to breed. You do your bare minimum and you put them in a tub together, they're going to breed. Okay? That is not in itself an accomplishment. And I don't think anything is to be able to go, you know what, I'm better than you are. Because I don't feel that. I don't feel that because we've bred a number of ball pythons or whatever, that we're better than any other person, whether they've bred or they haven't. We're different. We've done different things. We have different experiences. We may have even different knowledges. But guess what? I can learn something, and I'm sure I can learn things from people who've never bred a damn snake in their life. They may have never put a snake within, and they may be able to teach me something that I never even thought about. So can we just like, and I'm not telling people what to do, you know what, do what you want. I'm just making my thoughts clear because I'm sick and tired of it. And as far as I'm concerned, I have no space, I have no time or patience or care for people who are meeting this description of people I'm talking about. And guess what? If you're watching this video and any part of this video you feel actually, I think you might be talking about me, then it's time you take a good long hard look at the mirror. Because I'm not talking about any person individually. I've mentioned one name, but everything else I've mentioned, I'm not talking about any one person. Right? But if, as the expression goes, if the shoe fits, it's time for reflection, people. How can we be better? How can we grow together? Please, I'm sorry again to everyone who's put up with watching this video. I'm sorry for being negative. I'm sorry for, releasing a video that isn't normally, if you will, my style, the bubbly, laughy, whatever, high spirits. I just felt this needed to be put into place. I just felt I needed to say this. I felt I needed to voice my opinions and, quite frankly, my concerns of where this hobby is going in some places. Respect one another. Come together. Okay? Be professional. If you don't like someone, that's perfectly fine. You don't need to like everyone or anyone. But if you don't like someone, be professional still. Be respectful. Actually, you know what? I'm not a fan of said person, so I'm just going to perhaps distance myself a little bit. I'm not going to say something if I don't feel that there's going to be a positive thing to say. Just leave it alone. Just don't fuss yourself with it. Don't feel the need that I don't like that person, and especially don't do this whole, oh, because I'm friends with so-and-so, and because so-and-so doesn't like someone, then I mustn't like that person. Make your own damn mind. No. Like, honestly, make your own damn mind up. Interact with people one-on-one and make your opinion. Don't go, oh, because so-and-so doesn't like so-and-so, I mustn't like so-and-so, or, stupidness like that. And don't do a reverse way. Or because so-and-so and so-and-so are friends, well then I should, also be friends with so-and-so and like so-and-so. Because guess what? You may meet that person and think, actually, I can't stand you. And if you don't, we're individuals. We're not clones of each other. We have different personalities, and some personalities just don't gel. but we can still be respectful. I'm a teacher by trade, if you will. And one of the main things we teach our students is to be respectful of one another, to listen and accept that people have different opinions, to give people chances to speak, to be courteous to one another. This is something all schools, and I spend a lot of my damn time teaching children, hoping that perhaps when they leave school, they will carry with them some of those values. And it's the same values I'm sharing here today, and I'm saying are lacking in this community, or in some parts of this community. And there's no need and there is no reason for there to be, the lack of these things. And there's no reason to say that it can't change, because damn well it can. And I'm not saying I'm the one who's going to change it, because you watching are the ones to change it. If you're there thinking, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have said such and such a thing on such and such a day, then you know what, that's progress. Well done. That's how you learn. That's how you then go, actually, you've reflected, you felt that maybe what you did wasn't right, and you're now going to approach it from a different way in future. You've bettered yourself, and as a result have bettered this community. I don't know how long I've been talking for. I'm sorry, but this had to be done. I'm going to finish with saying, another expression that I use with the kids a lot. My friends aren't those people who agree with everything I say. My friends are those who respect that I have opinion that may differ to theirs, but we still can share that value. Because if someone is just there going, yeah, everything you're doing is great, what's the point? But someone I can have a conversation with, someone we can discuss and go, well, I've done it this way, and so can say, well, no, I've never done it that way, I've always done it this way, and talk. What have you found? What have I found? And I might go, you know what, I prefer what I'm doing. And they might go, yeah, and I prefer what they prefer what they're doing. And we still do what we're doing, but we've had that discussion, okay? We may have learned something there. I might decide to do something slightly differently. They might decide to do something slightly differently for the betterment of the animals. And please stop with your Google knowledge, some people, right? Just because you Google stuff, don't make you an expert. Be humble. I try to be. I've never once said, this is how you do. You'll never hear me saying that, ever. Because regardless of my expertise in the field, regardless of my learning, let's say, and my qualifications outside of breeding ball pythons, outside of this community, I still don't feel I know better than anyone else. I still don't feel that, I'm a genius in this matter. I have a unique perspective, surely. For sure, I have a unique perspective on certain parts of, husbandry or psychology or whatever you will. But I'm not going to make it seem like I know it better than anyone else. I'll share what I know. And someone may take that and go, oh, you know what? Actually, I might try that. And someone might go, you know what? Actually, thanks for your opinion, but I'm going to stick to what I'm doing because my animals seem to be happy. There are too many rant videos that have been made this year. There are too many people who felt the need to do these kind of videos. I felt the need not for trending purposes, because Lord knows I'm not a trendy person. I don't follow trends, never have. The whole point, the whole point of me starting this channel was to share our journey and have a platform where you can get to know us and we can get to know you. And you can see our daily ongoings here, the madnesses that we get up to. Okay, and also in the hopes of some people may learn from our videos, and that was my main reason. That's why I did a genetics series. But every video I've tried to think about what could be learned from this, even if it's something simple. What could one person who watches this video learn from this and take away with them, and better themselves in some way, even if it's only minute. And thirdly, I made this channel because I wanted to be able to show people this is the way we do it, this is how we breed our animals, this is what we're about, and have that transparently open. If you've met me in real life, you know I'm the exact same whether I'm in person or on the camera. And if you've met me, put it in the comments. Have you ever met me, especially if you've met me after seeing me on YouTube, were you disappointed? Did you feel, actually that's not the same person? Because I hit record or Jay is not here at the moment, but Jay hits record and I just talk, and this is me. There isn't a show, there isn't a persona. I'm trying to be transparent, and that's why this video is here. Again, people, apologies. I don't suspect I'll ever need to do another video like this again. But again, if at any point you feel that something I said in this video is about you, then please, the likelihood is it isn't. I'm pretty damn sure it isn't. But take a look at yourself. Just reflect. Why do you feel that I might have been talking about you? And maybe you can find something that you can improve in yourself. And I sure as hell going to always be looking for things and suggestions on how I can better myself, whether the way I breathe, the way I conduct myself, the way I talk, the way, you know, I make videos. It doesn't matter what it is. I'll always be there listening and open-eared or minded to new suggestions. Simon, if you've watched this, or someone, you know, I'm expecting at some point this may get out somewhere, respond to my messages. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a discussion, a professional one, as to what can be resolved. And if nothing can be resolved, that's fine too. But perhaps some resolution to this issue, right? Some understanding of what's gone on. So that if I've done something incorrectly or I've done something wrong that I didn't intend to, I can then in the future better myself and ensure that I don't make the same mistakes too. That's all I've got to say, guys. If you want to comment, by all means comment. I'll, you know, read through them. If you want to message me, message me. Share this. Share the hell out of this. I want as many people to hear this as possible. I don't give a damn about views or any of that rubbish. I just hope that the more people who watch this, the more individuals that may even slightly decide to better themselves tomorrow. Until next video, guys. Peace.